There are several ways to control a Cinedeck, including RS-422, where the Cinedeck can be master or slave, for example with a tape machine, over a network, as Cinedecks can be fully controlled using the Grass Valley AMP protocol. And Cinedecks work well with VNC applications, such as TeamViewer. Also, a Cinedeck can monitor an incoming timecode and perform multiple start-stop recording events using a simple text-based EDL, or edit decision list. There are separate tutorials to discuss the various control modes, and in this tutorial we will use an EDL to trigger recording. Let's begin by looking at an EDL in Windows. Edit decision lists were traditionally used in linear, tape-based online editing rooms for remembering and driving each event and transition in a program. Cinedeck EDLs are simple ASCII text CSV or comma-separated files. The EDL file name can have the CSV extension or CDL, which is the default used when you create an EDL from within the Cinedeck environment. The EDLs for this tutorial are located in my Cinedeck EDL folder, but EDL files can be located in any folder on any drive. A traditional EDL can contain many types of information, but all EDLs indicate start and stop times by timecode. In a Cinedeck EDL, each line is a new event and will create a new, separate clip. So, in this list, the first event starts at 1 hour, 33 seconds and 6 frames, and stops at 1 hour, 40 seconds and 4 frames. You can create and edit EDLs in any application you prefer, but there are 2 requirements. The first event must start at the very top of the file, meaning there can be no extraneous text, blank lines, or spaces at the top. And there needs to be a line return at the end of the last event, leaving an empty new line at the end of the file. Let's look at some more examples. Along with the start-stop information, a Cinedeck EDL can also contain file name information for each clip that will be recorded. If no name information is specified, the project settings control file naming, and an EDL segment number is appended to each clip, which we will see later. This example has the start-stop times and a master file name, and in this case the name also uses the %C variable, or wildcard, which at record time will insert the current timecode into the file name. The last example has start-stop times, unique name information for each master and proxy file, and includes 2 wildcards, %C for the timecode and %S for scene, which you could, for example, use to include a tape ID. The video for EDL recording can be any valid source, such as a camera, tape machine, or telecine system. The monitored timecode can be from an external LTC connection, the internal timecode generator, or embedded timecode in the SDI signal. In this case, I'm going to use channel 1 of an RX3G as the source, and channel 2 of the same RX3G as the EDL recorder. The EDL recording on channel 2 will be tracking the incoming embedded SDI timecode from channel 1 to trigger the events. To set this up, simply connect the output of channel 1 to the input for channel 2. Okay, let's look at EDL use from within the Cinedeck interface. As noted, for this session I'm using an RX3G, but the EDL recording process is identical for RX and MX. First, let's go to Clip Manager to load the source content on channel 1. This 2.5-minute clip is what our EDL is based on. Play selected. We can see the image and timecode from channel 1 coming through on channel 2. Input, encoding, and file destination is already set up, so if you are not familiar with the general operation of your Cinedeck, have a look at the basic setup and project window tutorials. Also note that as of version 4.3, on the master codec page, a timecode selection can be made between GEN, internally generated timecode, LTC, external timecode, and for this tutorial we need the embedded SDI timecode from the source. The section of interest for this session is the new timecode and automation page, where all of the timecode and trigger settings are managed. There are several options for triggering a recording. For this session, we'll use EDL mode. In the now visible File column, you can load existing EDLs, which again can be located in any folder on any disk. Going into the EDL editor, we see that this is the same EDL with only start and stop times that we looked at earlier. The editor can be used to edit existing EDLs, or by clicking New, you can create a new EDL. Let's open our file in the editor again. By default, the timecode keypad will contain the data from the highlighted event, allowing you to edit the start and stop times. Pressing Enter commits the new data back into the list for that event. Insert adds a new line after the highlighted line, based on the keypad info. Undo allows reverting back through multiple changes. Let's look at a slightly different example. This EDL has the same timecodes as the previous list, and also has unique names set up for each clip. To create, clear, or change a name, click on the File Name field. From the editing page, you can utilize all of the Cinedeck wildcards or variables. This line still needs the %C timecode variable. And you can enter text with the on-screen keyboard or a connected USB keyboard. Copy and paste work here as well. Let's save this. Note at the top of the EDL editor page the star next to the file name. This indicates that the file has been changed, but not saved. Pressing Cancel will close the file, undoing all changes. Press Save or Save and Close to keep the changes. For this first run, we need the simple EDL. Back on the main screen, the Record button has changed to Load EDL. Pressing Load EDL readies the system and loads the first event. The border flashes red to indicate that the recorder is ready and waiting for the appropriate timecode to trigger the start. A long press on Stop will cancel the EDL recording process at any time. Let's reload the EDL. The first event starts at 1 hour 33 seconds, and the current timecode is already at 1 hour 32 seconds. So when we play channel 1 on the left, recording will almost immediately start on the right. On the record side, the border changes from flashing red to solid red during each record event. Below, you can see the file name changing as the system progresses through each event. Note the EDL event numbers appended to each file name. After the last event is completed, the border stops flashing red, and the Record button changes again to Load EDL in preparation for another session. In Clip Manager, we can see the 5 events with names based on the project settings and the EDL event numbers. Let's go back and load another list. Back, Setup, Timecode and Automation. As you may recall, this EDL included unique name information for each clip. Load file, save, and close. Load the EDL. The source channel is still playing, so when I recue it to the start, it continues playing and immediately triggers the first event. The event timecodes are the same for this session, but note the file names below on the record side. Each recording is named with the starting timecode and the name text from the EDL. EDL recording is complete, so back to Clip Manager. Here we see the clips from the first session with the default project-based names and the new clips with their unique names generated from the EDL. Play selected, and we have our clips. So that's it for recording using an EDL. Hopefully this session has been useful. Check out the other tutorials on the website. Cinedeck. Your workflow, your way.